Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I just upgraded my inverter in the Rendezvous to a 2000 watt. They had one for 140 bucks with a free coupon at Harbor Freight. So I went over and bought that. Got the 2000 watts, baby. I can run my battery maintainer now. I'll have to keep it running to run that for any length of time. It'll suck my battery dry, but you know. And I might fry an alternator after a while, but I can replace that. It's no big deal. But yeah, 2000 watts. I mean, that's drawing like 170 amps on the back end. Now, my battery maintainer running full out should draw about 800 watts with the 1000 tops, which is gonna put me, you know, at half that. It's gonna put me at 80 or 90 amps, which will work with my 100 amp fuse that I have up there and my 6-gauge wire. But if I want to draw more than that at some point, I'm going to have to upgrade the fuse and the wiring. But for now, it's good enough. You know, I did some work at a shop today. I just helped them out, and I was programming a vehicle there a while back. We couldn't get any good internet back in the shop, and my phone, my 4G wasn't getting good signal, and we eventually got it by putting my phone halfway out the garage door so I'd get some signal and beam it back in with Wi-Fi to my laptop. And I thought for a second I had bricked their computer because it lost internet access halfway through the programming. But luckily we pulled the battery cables, we reset everything, it all came back online. And so I was kind of like, you know, it's crazy. You guys need better internet back here. So I helped them out. I grabbed the box and my cable. Our 50-foot box, there's not much of it left now. But I grabbed a box of cable and we went there and we pulled a drop. And I hooked up their wireless access point, or a wireless access point back there. I got one refurbished on Amazon for like 13 bucks or something. We put that back there and set that up. And then I hardwired off of the switch of the access point. It's really a router, but I set it up as an access point. And then I ran it from the switch down to the computer, so it's got full 100 megabit internet access back there now. It's not always dropping in and out, which helps when you're using online data. And set that up, and then I put another used computer I had from work because they were recycling them, and I pull them out and take a few and redo them. And so I put that up at the front counter for them, and I set up their shared printing, so when she pulls up something in Hollander, she was copying and pasting it into Notepad and then printing it out of Notepad, and then would take the sheet down to him back in the shop, which you have to go through a door, through a parts area, through another door, down some steps and into the shop. Like, you know, it's a good little walk back there. And she's doing that, like, you know, 30 times a day, right? You know, and basically what Hollander does is it allows you to put in like I need a brake caliper for a you know, 1999 Chevy Impala or whatever, and it'll tell you like every make and model and year that brake caliper is compatible with, that you can pull that off of. And they can look at the list and be like, well, we don't have a 99, but we got a 2001, and that works, you know. And they can go pull that caliper, and it gives you a list of that. And so basically I set up the printers so they're shared now, so she can just hit print, and I showed her how to hit print in Hollander and print off the actual pick list, rather than copying and pasting it into Notepad. And then that just comes out on his printer. She can get them on the radio and be like, hey, need a caliper for such and such. I put the Hollander sheet is on your printer, and then he can just walk and pick it up and hand it to one of the yard guys to go pull apart. So that works really well for him. But, you know, I've been thinking, like, you know, a lot of these shops that I go and work at and do programming at, they just don't have any real IT knowledge, right? They're not network engineers. They haven't spent, you know, 25, 30 years being network engineers. And they don't understand. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand when their wireless is dropping out, that it might be interference from another channel, how to check, how to, you know, choose a different channel set. They don't understand the difference between 2.4 gigs and 5 gigs. They don't understand how to take a router and disable the DHCP to turn it into just an access point and extend your wireless. And they also don't understand, like, okay, I got this JBox, but how do I hook it up? How do I load the drivers for it? How do I program with it? How do I do this stuff? And so a lot of the shops I go to, I kind of show them what I'm doing, how I do it, and that helps them. But I think a lot of people could actually use some just help, some help with their IT to get things set up, and some help to get started with programming, some help to get started with online diagnostics. So there's a lot of companies out there where you can actually plug in your scan tool or your programmer, and you can actually call the people and say, I need help, and they can remote into the scan tool and help you diagnose it, which is really awesome. But you got to have good internet and stuff for that. And a lot of these shops, they don't understand. They call Time Warner. Time Warner comes and puts in a wireless router, but it doesn't reach their shop, and it won't work. And and so there's a lot of help needed. With the different software and stuff like that. So I'm gonna, as I approach that, I'm just gonna tell people like, hey, I don't just program cars. I'm an IT guy. I can help you get set up so that you can do this yourselves, right? I charge more per hour for networking because it's more expensive. It just is. But I can still come in at a very fair price. I don't have to come in at $150 or $200 an hour like a lot of these companies are charging. I come in at $50 or $75 an hour and still make plenty of money. Pull a few cables, put up some wireless, do some stuff and get them going, set them up a couple computers, and they're good to go, right? And I have a really good understanding of the software and how that works and the hardware and just everything about it. I think that might have some value to some shops. I'm just thinking, like, maybe I can get a few side customers that are shops and do their IT support as well. But anyway, I got a bunch of stuff from the Dollar Tree here to carry in. So, but yeah, I'm really liking this inverter back here. It's a big one. It came in this big box here. It came in this big. Oh crap! Let me get the box. Oh crap! That's falling everywhere. All right. That came in this big box. The Juniper 2,000 watt inverter. Oh yeah. And she's a big girl, man. I'll tell you. She got a big old fat butt on her, man. She's a big girl. Much bigger than my 400 watt one was. But you can tell by the heat sink and as heavy as it is and as big as it is. It's got two big fans on it. That thing probably does every bit of 2,000 watts. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. It's time. Your frugal prepper. Everybody, have a good weekend. Have fun. Don't worry too much about all this crap on the news and all this crap about Russia and all the news places trying to get you all upset about Russia. Just go live life. It's the best you can. If nuclear war comes, it comes. And you'll have to deal with it then. I tell you, I'm close enough to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that if they drop a bomb and they're going to do a ground detonation, I'm dead in the fallout zone. In 40 minutes or so, I'm going to be dead from radiation poisoning, and my house is going to mostly be blown over from the blast wave. I'm not sure that I want to live through that. I don't want to dig a bunker in my backyard and go live down there for 3 years, right? I don't. I'm ready to go home and be with Jesus, if that happens. I don't worry about it too much. And you hope that it doesn't happen, but you can only control what you can control. And I don't want to see us end up in World War III. I feel really bad for the Ukrainians, and I think we should help them. But we need to help them without actually going to war with Russia. And we can provide humanitarian aid. We can even sell them some weapons. But, at the end of the day, Ukraine has lived next to the Soviet Union for a long time. They had a lot of corruption and people stealing money from the government. Money that could have been used to buy missiles, to buy tanks, to build their military so that they could be prepared for something like this. They chose not to be prepared. They chose to elect people that would squander their resources and money. And now there's a price to be paid for that. I feel bad for them and I want to help, but at the same time, their lack of being prepared over the last 20 or 30 years doesn't equal my son needing to go to war and die for them. It's just how I feel about it. It's a shame what's happening, and sometimes you just have to let those kinds of things work themselves out and stay out of it, though. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, enough politics. I don't really care. I'm just doing my thing. I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your Frugal Prepper.